Production. Well, welcome back. We are back at it again this week with another episode of A Coming of Age, the podcast. Frank.
Coming.
No,
gotta give me a
dude.
chance. Give me a chance.
Did you do that on purpose?
No,
It's terrible,
give
man.
me a chance.
We're deep in this game, man.
But give me a chance.
You
That's
usually
all
come in
I
before I
want.
finish, man.
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, you gotta let me finish.
Tensions are rising.
Y'all gotta keep it cool, calm, guy.
Keep it calm, yeah.
I don't want no confrontation.
No competition. Yo, we're back at it again this week with another episode.
It's so good to be back.
So great to be
Ladies
back.
and gentlemen, what's up?
And again, check for us on, if you haven't, on IG at Coming of Age the podcast. Same thing on Twitter. Same thing on Facebook. Where else are we?
Well, if you want to stream us, like
Tumblr.
you're doing right now, we're on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube,
Hey, Podbean.
We are everywhere.
We're hosted on Podbean, man. And shout out to Podbean again this week for making everything work smoothly.
Yes, sir.
And we got another dandy, man. We got another dandy that I think a lot of you can relate to.
Yo,
And,
you know what?
Yeah.
Shout out to A Coming of Age podcast. I'm going to be that cheesy person. We got some good topics, man. Like I think they're genuine. And I think it's on a lot of people's minds, whether it's in the forefront or the background.
I think we're taking people back a lot too, you know, kind of like to kind of reminisce about themselves. I mean, hence we're called A Coming of Age. And it's kind of thing like, I think a lot of people are maybe thinking back to their like
Just
adolescence, their younger
self-reflecting,
things,
right?
to up to today, and see how they move, you know. And
Mhm.
speaking of moves, see that one?
Speaking
You
of
see that one?
moves,
What I did
that's
there?
a good. All right. Yo, maybe that should be. Speaking of moves,
There you
eh?
go.
This
I'm
week,
not new to this, buddy.
This I'm not your buddy guy. This week, our topics. So we got a multi-topic one this week. Check it out. We have don't compare your moves to the other. All right, that's what we're going to touch on first.
To others.
To the others. It's the same thing. Same shit.
Okay,
Come
well,
on, man. Different.
you know,
pile.
I'll let you go.
So don't compare
Tension's
your
already
moves.
high.
I don't want no confrontation, guy. Don't compare your moves to the other. And then we're going to roll it into knowing when to quit. That's an interesting one. Usually people are motivated
that's a
to
good
keep
one.
moving, but
That's a good one.
we're actually going to be talking about knowing
Yeah.
when to get rid of an idea.
Yeah,
move on to
dream
the next
shatter,
one.
man. Big
So,
pun, dream shatter. Shatter your
Settle
dreams.
in. Settle in. Get your cup of coffee or on your drive home or you drive to work.
Yeah,
Whatever you got to do, just
Timbits.
listen in and let's kick it off. So what do we mean by don't compare your plan? A plan can be anything. So obviously we're talking about the plan of life, which is not a concrete thing written in stone. It is a abstract contract that just goes in very it can go anyway, right? So by plan we mean someone who's climbing the corporate ladder fast, or someone who's not climbing so fast, someone who has a lot of saved up, who doesn't, someone who chose to have a wife, kids house at a younger age, for people who are waiting later on in life. Plans can be anything. They can fabricate from many different sources of, anything. So that's what we're going to talk about first. So Zam, I'm going to let you kick it off this week, because I think I kicked it off a couple of times last time.
I am a huge supporter and live by don't watch the next man's moves.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest chief reason as to why I've always felt that way is no matter how things look on the surface, no matter what someone tells you they're doing, you'll never know the full story. You'll never know. That's the way I think about it. It's like, you never know, man.
Listen,
you never
Instagram, Facebook, and everything, they lie. People post the best stuff on Instagram and all those social medias because they want you to see the happiness, see what they're doing, the excitement. If they go on vacation, you'll see it. If they just bought a new car, you'll see it. But you'll never see that credit card payment they just missed. You'll never see the rowdy kids.
The cars are leased or something like that.
You'll
But
never
the
see all
boastfulness
that.
maybe be there. But also on the positive end too, like like what you said about someone starting a family early and or
Hmm.
getting married, starting a family early, maybe moving a little bit faster, or doing things before you did them, I guess. And if it's someone against comparable in your field, comparable in places where you grew up, and you kind of moving together, and then all of a sudden maybe you hear that, you
Maybe they
know,
get a big break or something, or who knows.
yeah, or it just worked out that way for them. And
Absolutely.
watching someone else's moves is never healthy, dude. It can be maybe motivating and maybe like kind of like a Kobe to Mike
I can
Jordan kind
definitely
of
see
thing,
how it
but
can
like,
be demoralizing though, or demotivating. Sorry, because
go
you
ahead. Yeah, yeah,
it's
go
very
ahead.
very easy to think, what am I doing wrong, right? When you see someone who has all these lavish things, or who's in a certain place where like I said, they have the house, kids, or they have a job, or they have the good credit, or whatever it is. They started their own business and it's booming. You don't know. Not only do you not know what they had to do to get there, or what they went through, or their current situation, but it doesn't matter. What should matter is your focus on your current plan. I actually tell my sister that. Shout out to my sister in Atlanta. She has a very long road because she's doing the whole med school doctor thing and everything, and she does get discouraged sometimes, thinking, man, my this girl, she has a kid and a husband, or
Yeah, yeah,
this
sure.
person is
Yeah,
blah blah blah. I keep telling her, Jenny, it doesn't matter.
keep doing your
Doesn't
thing.
matter. You got to keep
Yeah,
doing your thing. If you have your plan,
right.
stick to it. If you don't have a plan, develop one. It's the most important thing. Right?
Have you ever been on the other side of it, where you were like,
Mm.
you've become aware that people are watching you, like you're being like looked
Yeah,
upon, kind
oh
of
yeah,
thing?
all the
Yeah.
time. Well, you know what? It's actually funny. One time, this wasn't too long ago. I went to a party. It was my boy's birthday, and I know all of most of his friends, like all of them. And I walked in, and you go from group to group just to catch
Say
up.
what's up. Say hi. Yeah.
And the common thing that almost every group did with me, they were just like, "Hey, I see you doing this. Hey, I saw you doing this. Yo, that's so sick. Yo, how do you get the time to do all this?" Or and it's funny because it kind of caught me by
Yeah. Sure.
surprise.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I do post, highlights and whatnot,
Yeah.
but people are always watching what you're doing, right? Or
But it doesn't have to be in a bad way,
oh no, I'm
right?
not
Yeah.
saying this
Yeah.
in a bad way.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sure.
sorry. Let me clarify. This is not
That's not the
in
bad, the
by
bad end
no
of
means
it.
a
Yeah.
bite like a bad way. It's just to prove that, especially nowadays where there's so many platforms where you can share your business, people are watching. They're watching and they're comparing,
Yes.
or they're watching and they're being motivated by it,
Right.
right? Because they might see, oh, wow, like if Frank can do this, I can do that, which is fantastic because I draw from that from other people as well, right?
You don't find that, like, have you ever had the negative end? Like, I've had the negative end kind of slap me. That's literally slap me in the face, but like,
How so? Explain.
so like for me, we both worked at Best Buy at once upon a time in our lives,
Yes.
and like for me at my age, I moved up fairly fast on the technician manager end,
Mm-hmm.
where I was like passing guys who have been doing this thing for, like, I was doing it for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they've been doing this thing 10, 15 years. So you have this age discrepancy
Mm-hmm.
of this, and then there's a young guy, me, who's like, in the management's eyes, the next guy to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
with idea. I would, what what I'm trying to get at too is that, like, what they don't see and what they would hate on would be like, yo, look at this guy, he thinks he's this, look at this kid, he thinks he's this, and they would do certain things like
Mm-hmm.
book me like really bad appointments, give me the bad customers. I'd get like the worst complaints when they could, like, pretty much they could have handled all that stuff,
Yeah.
but they would push it on to you to kind of want to see you kind of fail, want to
Mm-hmm.
see how you're gonna react. But I always found it interesting. It was like, and how I always kept like a level head and never was rude and never was like a jerk back or anything like that. But like, I always thought to myself like, yo, you don't even see what I'm doing on the tail end of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't see me going home and studying vehicles and vehicle platforms.
I
I was
can't
an
say I've ever
automotive
had anybody
technician or something like
actually
that.
approach me, or I can't say that I've actually noticed someone negatively looking at my success.
I just mean like, what the person on the other end. Back to what I said initially when we started, was like, no one knows. You don't know what the other person is doing. Like,
Hmm.
don't like for you to watch that, or like how we're saying, yo, don't watch next man's moves.
So what about this
You know?
instances where you
Yeah.
do know what the person's doing and you see that they're not doing much at all, but they're still getting all these rewards?
But that's to me. See, to me personally, I always look at that like, yo, you. That's great. Like that, you got the cheat code, dude. You
Mm.
found the cheat
Mm.
code. You. I'm not hating on that. If I could do it, I would have done that too.
Fair enough.
You know
No,
what
no,
I'm saying?
that's a good point.
Like
Yeah.
if a lot of places where you and we all grow up in this thing of like, especially immigrant families of like, yo, you got to go to school, you got to go to college, you got to get education.
Yes.
But in the real world, so much of it is like, yeah, you might get in there, but it's really who you know, how you're relating to people, your
Oh,
relationships with
now more
everyone.
than ever, it's
For
who you know.
yeah,
Right?
and I might be there for the longest time, but maybe I'm not hanging out with anyone. Maybe I'm not like the guy who's close to anyone, or like maybe I'm on the fringe. I'm happy. I say hi, hello, good morning, but I'm
Mm.
not to that level of, I guess like management level. Maybe you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
I
career
do.
level.
So
But
then,
someone swoops in and they maybe put a year in, 2 years in, but they are the one who is socializing. They're the
some
one
people
who's
have the natural talent, right?
yeah, and yo, kudos to those people. And like, and if that puts them ahead, and they're gonna get criticized for like, this guy doesn't deserve it, this woman doesn't deserve it. They're only getting this position because they're friends of da da da. Da. Yo, man, if that's your definition of what it is, that person to me, I look at it like, you know what, that person forged a relationship with someone who was important in that,
Maybe that was
or
their
a decision
plan,
maker.
right?
But that's again, kudos to them.
That's
You
a
know,
plan.
yeah,
There's some people who literally, there are people who know
yes,
that maybe they're not the smartest person in the room, right? And they feel like, you know what, my way to the top is to rub elbows with, the brass,
sure.
right? And if that's their plan, then and it works, you can't hate them for that.
But they do. But people, that is a high
Mm.
percentage of the population. That is the rest of the people in the office,
So do
the
you think people
workspace.
start making mistakes? Um, so when you compare,
Yeah.
so again, going back to the broad spectrum of a plan
Yes.
in any essence, right? Do you feel that if you do compare your plan, then you automatically start? Usually, you're comparing where you're like, okay, I want to catch up, right? For argument's sakes, um, do you feel that it's easy to start making mistakes because you're trying to rush the process to get to a higher elevation? So, for example, let's say you see,
I guess if you're not capable of doing the work, I mean, I can't relate it again to myself
no,
personally.
not just
Yeah.
work, but let's go back. Let's step away from work. Let's go back to, let's
Okay.
say,
Yeah.
the American life, right? So if
American,
you're,
North American life.
let's use females because I think usually they're the ones who are more.
Boy. Let me preface this by saying there isn't a female on this podcast.
That's fine. I think they're gonna agree with this. It's mostly females who compare their marriage life to others, or marriage status. Sorry, not life
Okay.
status.
Okay.
So if they're not married by a certain age, then they get a
Yeah.
little
Okay.
antsy.
Yes.
I don't think guys aren't really like that nearly as much. I would say.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with
I
you.
think that's a general consensus. And
I'm with you.
if a girl, let's say, if all of her girlfriends have husbands and have kids, and if she does allow herself to get caught up in that, she might make a mistake and maybe settle with a guy who she's not supposed to be with, quote
You
unquote.
rush,
She's not supposed.
rush
You rush into
something.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you get married, and then it ends up being a bad relationship. Then you do divorce, and now you're actually setting yourself back. And during all the time, you may have missed the person who you should have been with, right?
Or you're trying to
All
have kids.
because you wanted to be a part of that group when really you should have been like, it's not my time yet. It's okay. It'll come when it comes.
Yeah,
It'll
that takes a
blossom when it
lot.
blossoms.
Hey, you
right?
know what? A shout out to those people who are realistic about their own situations, because that's tough, man. That
It
is
is.
tough. Like I can't imagine if I had like a, again in those situations, I've witnessed it where it's like younger sisters moving faster than the older sister,
Hmm.
and in both like marriage and kids and all this kind of stuff, and the pressure's there, man. The pressure's there,
Absolutely.
and
And it's a real pressure.
it is, and I don't, I kind of agree with you. I don't know if guys. Do you think guys see in what realm do men see the same pressures?
I think for men, it's more
The
so
work thing,
I wouldn't just say work. I say money.
money. Okay.
Um,
And
only
what you got, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, what you got. Because men,
Don't care
they're
how you got it.
chauvinists.
How
They're
did you get it?
chauvinists.
Yeah, yeah.
If a guy has a nice car, he shows it. If he has money, he shows it. If he made the right decision in a stock or something, he shows it. You know, it's a boastful industry meeting the man industry, right? Compared
Yeah.
to the woman, different things that they boast about. So absolutely, I think, for example, actually, years ago, I bought a nice BMW car purely for status.
Beauty of a whip.
Right? It was a really nice car, and I bought it purely for status. I was like,
I remember that.
when I whip around, I want to look nice. Now, I had my fun. Everybody has to have their fun. Was it the best investment? Most definitely not.
See, but I admire you for saying that.
Well, no, that's because I know
No, but you know what I mean. I
I'm not gonna
admire.
like
No,
deny.
but
I know it, right?
yeah, but not many people would say that, right? You know what I mean. I admire you for saying that.
Thank
You
you.
did it for that. You did it
Literally,
because it represented something.
I can actually
Right.
tell you the exact moment I did it. I was working and we were all we were going for lunch and we were taking a client. I was trying to close a deal with a pharmaceutical company, and they're at our office. So I'm like, hey, let's go for lunch. And when we were walking to our whips, I had uh, a tough car. It was a 2012 Ford Escape.
Escape, yeah. I
And it
remember.
wasn't in the best shape, but it wasn't in bad shape. But it wasn't like a. My boss was driving an Audi
Sure, whatever.
Q7,
Yeah,
and the other one a 7 Series. And I whispered to him, I'm like, hey, do you mind if you take them in your car? They're like, yeah. And literally at that moment, I was just like, I can't be moving like this. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
sure.
And even my boss told me, because I just got a raise, he's like, Frank, why don't you go get yourself a nice
Yeah,
car?
yeah.
He literally told me that. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't need one. He's like, yeah, but you feel good. You deserve it. And I'm
Yeah,
like, you know
yeah.
what? I do deserve it.
You're right.
Yo, you're right. I literally, when I bought the car a couple of weeks later, and I felt nice, got a lot of compliments, but it was a dumb decision because I dropped tens of $1,000s into this car,
I remember.
and I could have used that in so many other ways:
different
RSP,
ways.
stocks, investment property, so many things. But I have my whip, right? So you live and you learn. But that's what I mean. Where if you don't like, my plan for the whole time was keep the Ford Escape. I'm gonna ride it till it dies, good to go. And because I rushed that, because I changed my plan, because I got distracted, I lost money, right? Whereas,
That's interesting. So you've been on both sides. You've been on both ends of that.
yeah. Most definitely. I mean, I think everybody eventually has that hurrah, like the moment where they realize their faults and they get.
I
back
do
to,
feel.
you know?
I feel lucky. I know you profess your love to your Ceci.
Don't bring that up because I purposely haven't,
But
because
I
man's
think-
been saying why you keep professing. So I haven't said shit.
I'm gonna profess something to my my lady.
Oh my gosh.
That I think I'm. You know how lucky I feel that I found someone that I think we both don't do that. Like we both couldn't care less. Not in a mean way. That someone has this or someone has that, because we're just doing what we're doing what fits us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think we're the type of people that could have a lot of things, a lot of money, and we'd still be where we're at.
But I think
still
that
do
just
the
takes
things, you know?
maturity and experience.
No, because I know a lot more people that would like indulge quite a bit. And I know people who have done that. I don't want to mention names, but I know they're also on the back end, knowing them personally, and knowing some people personally, and hearing stories of other people. So much of that is like, it's kind of like what you said. You got the BMW. At least it was a car and not like a mansion. You know. So imagine, like, yo, you should get a good. Yo, I'm gonna get a house. Yo, I'm gonna get a house. I'm gonna get this house. Well, you got to pay mortgage. I would assume, anyways. You got to pay property tax, which is probably through the roof. And you don't realize all those factors and extra spending that goes into it when you're making those decisions, or maybe being pressured into, like, seeing your friend or best friend.
Well, you know what?
Else of that. Yeah.
It's actually interesting you mentioned that. So I don't know where people are listening to this podcast. You can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But just to give you the basis, Toronto is stupid expensive to live. Like, house prices are through the roof.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, me and my girlfriend, we want to get a house or move out eventually, like get our own spot. But it's funny because we see our friends who have houses, and we'll be like, hey, you guys want to go do this? Oh, we can't. Or you guys want to go for no, we can't. Want to go on a trip? No, we can't.
Why?
I actually had one
Because
person.
they like being at the house.
No,
Oh.
no, because they can't afford it. Because the house is their
Oh.
paycheck. We actually had it
Oh.
one time where we were planning a ski trip, and someone, I swear to you, told me, they're like, I can't go because I have to pay my property tax in
Hey
the next
man,
2 months.
that's real.
No, no,
life.
no,
Yeah, no,
no. I'm not denying
no,
that
no,
it's
no.
real. It's a real thing.
Yeah, sure.
But in
I'm
my
saying that's the
mind,
reality of what I was trying to say. I was like,
oh
yo,
yeah.
like
But in my mind,
real shit.
I'm like, damn, like you're missing out on a amazing trip because of something like that. Which, on the flip side, they're making equity and all that stuff. But
Right.
I mean, the amount of experiences that
Like
I've
you can't
had,
go because you're tied, you're handcuffed.
you're
It's gonna be
handcuffed, right?
handcuffed to it, yeah.
Or same thing can go with kids. Same thing can go with a high paying accounting job. You got to be there. I have a boy who
But it
works
doesn't mean
from
you,
like
that,
8 straight to like 10 o'clock every night because he has to close the books and all that stuff.
it doesn't mean you're necessarily watching anyone too, though, right? But
Well, no.
yeah, unless
So
you're in that
sorry,
position because you were.
I
Yeah.
say all that because again, I could be like, oh, my boy has this house or my girl has
Oh
this
yeah,
house,
yeah.
but in my
Okay.
mind, I'm like, that's what the path they chose. I chose to travel. I chose to be able to any weekend go and drop, whatever money to go for a dinner or take care of my girl or do whatever it is. I have my own. Right now, I'm living my plan how I want. I'm happy, and my next phase is coming up. But I don't rush it. I don't try to. I get caught up sometimes,
And
though.
that doesn't mean it's ideal for anyone else, but that works for you.
It works for me,
Right.
but I will admit, like I get caught up sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I had that, or I wish I had this.
Yeah.
But then you snap out of it. You're like, you know what? No, I'm blessed with what's going on. I know that eventually I'll have more. So it's okay, right?
Or you have something else.
Or
You
something,
you have what
more
you want.
something else, whatever it is.
Right.
So we talked about having the house, kids. We talked about the plan of work. What other kind of plans do you think might exist? Because those are two pretty simple, easy ones.
Like from like career and like family.
Yeah, that's career, family. Yeah,
I think it's not wrong. I don't think it's, you know what? I don't think it's wrong to be influenced or like see something like, oh like a lot of times you don't know things exist till you see it, right? Or you don't see somebody you see that somebody had something or is doing something.
Hmm.
I think where I'm taking it is like, don't compare, don't let that be the sole factor of what's driving you. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's good. We
Like,
said.
don't make that be the only thing that's what's taking you there. Like,
So it's okay to alter your plan because maybe you see someone else's that's maybe more appealing to you, but don't change your plan solely because you want to catch up. Like
yeah, exactly.
because you're like
Exactly.
there's good comparison and there's bad. Good comparison is seeing something like, oh, I never thought of that. That's cool. I want to do that because that's gonna fit me and make me happy. But then there's also the comparison was like envy. It's like, oh, I want they can't have more than me. I got to catch up, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't want the latter of the two.
Yeah, like and I feel not sad. I don't want to say that, but if I do feel that I do feel bad for.
Hey, I just want to. I'm sitting on a leather couch. I just readjusted, and it definitely sounded like a fart, but it wasn't.
He definitely.
So I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was just. Hey, I can do it again. See,
passing gas.
you hear that?
My reclining.
If I was, you just hear silence on Zam's end because he'd be done.
You hit the mute button. No, I think like I do feel bad for the people in those situations where it's like, because it's easy to say, hey, nah, man, do your thing, because you don't. But you also, again, back to the main theme is like, you're not with that person going to bed or in their minds, so they're left with those impressions of like, oh, I gotta like this my sister's having a kid and I didn't have one, or like my sister got married and I'm not married and they're the younger one. And
but you know what?
ahead,
I think
not to say I'm speaking on women. I'm just
no.
Yeah,
I was actually gonna flip it a little bit. I was gonna say it's also good. Let's say you do have a lot, right? You have, or you're doing well for yourself, and if you have people who aren't at the same level or they're at a different stage of the plan, it's very good to humble yourself as well, because those same people, like I said, there's positive comparison where they might see and say, oh, this person's doing well. I want to go talk to this person and find out what it is that they're doing well. And essentially when you do that, you can actually help promote them on their plan via your
Oh,
successful
that'd be
path.
the optimal thing, right?
Because I can only say that happened. I know one time it happened very prominently. A close friend of mine, he was down and out. He had a rough life, like deaths and sicknesses, like
Hmm.
his family and money and a whole bunch of stuff. And I was fortunate enough where I was doing all right. And anytime he wanted to talk, I just listen and say, listen, don't worry, man. There's light. You're gonna get through this roughness, but just imagine how proper you're gonna be when you're good. And he didn't believe me at
Nice.
first, but then
Yeah.
it sunk in. It's almost like Inception. And now, like, dude's killing it. He's just hustling. He's killing it.
And he's happy.
He's happy. Oh,
Nice.
he's more than happy. And he just realized that he's at the stage of his plan where it's a dip, but it's an uphill battle. But you can, perseverance, strength, good planning. You're gonna make it step by step, and it's fine, right? So then that brings us to the next part is, of this plan, right? Whatever
Yeah.
the plan may be,
Mhm.
you got to know when to quit sometimes, don't you?
Yo, I love this part. Yeah.
So to set this one off,
Yeah.
um, just because you have a dream or you're on a certain path, partway through a plan, whatever it is, doesn't mean it's either the best one for you or it's going to be successful. You got it. A lot of people say, "Don't quit, don't quit." I think that's dumb, in my opinion. Like, sometimes you do have to quit. Why would you keep doing something that's not beneficial for you? You know what I mean? And this can relate to literally every aspect of your life. Unfortunately, including family. That's a tough one. Like, I see you pause there, but that's a tough one. If you have a toxic person, like, how do you, and you see that they're bringing you and your family and yourself down.
Yeah.
How do you keep that? How do you keep at it?
I don't know. Can I hit it at a
Sorry,
different-
when I say
Yeah.
includes family, I mean, like, I'm not saying I quit on family. Sorry, I'm just saying this. Know when to quit. Literally, to be fair, it has to apply to everything.
Like, no one to walk away. No one to walk away from a person. No one to walk away from a loved one. No one to walk away from a dream. Right?
Yes.
Yo, you know what I want to say? To all you people.
I want to say something, guy.
all
His
you-
shirt's off right
For
now.
all you people of our age or elk, listen, man. Pokai and Al Bundy was a long goddamn time ago. All right, there's no way in real life term. Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about, like, they built a studio. Good friend of mine built a studio in their basement. I was like, holy! I was like, oh wow, man, you play like instruments and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, like I used to play like drums and like make beats and stuff like this. I was like, what kind of beats? You mean like hip hop beats? He's like, yeah. And he's older than me, right? This guy's older than me. So I'm 37. He's older than me. I'm not going to say
I
his
thought you were
age.
36.
No, 37.
The sworn said 36.
No, 37.
All right.
And this guy goes to me. This guy goes to me. Yeah, I used to rap, and if you don't know me well, I'm a huge hip hop head, like beyond hip hop head. Like, I heard that, and I said to myself, "Don't take the bait. Just say, oh, okay."
Oh no, you got to say that's crazy. Whenever
No,
someone says
I didn't
that's
hit the-
crazy,
I
it
didn't hit
means
the
like
crazy. I didn't want to hit the crazy. Because okay kind of can quell. Crazy means wow, whoa, yeah, man. You know what I mean? I didn't want to like. I'm like, oh, okay. In my mind, like, oh my goodness gracious. Yo, man. Again, Al Bundy, Pokai, long time ago. You can't rap right now. You can't play in the NBA right now. You can't play in the NFL right now. No, they didn't miss you. No, you weren't the missing link. No, you're not the one that like they look past.
if you guys looking for a motivational podcast, switch up right now, guy.
You're not. Yo, man,
Jeez.
listen. If it was to be, the work would have been put in. How could it be that they missed you? How could
So
this be,
I think
you know?
what Azam is trying to say is,
Dream
if
shatter,
you
shatter
have-
your dreams.
yeah, you
Big
just-
pun.
how many followers did we just lose right now, guy? Jeez.
You gotta quit. You know what? Okay, I just mean to say
No,
you
no,
gotta-
for real.
yes.
You're speaking truth. Like, this podcast is all about speaking truth.
Those
So keep going, keep
memories
going.
of what you used to be and what you used to be able to do will drive you crazy. It'll make you think all kinds of things that you can maybe still do something that maybe your mind's telling you can do, but your body won't follow. You know, kind of thing.
So I think maybe
Like
this can also tie into that it's okay to
I like your professionalism here.
switch up a plan
Yeah.
and maybe look for a different
Yeah.
avenue to achieve something. So, for example,
You coach.
I was just gonna say, if you can't play ball anymore for whatever reasons, right? Switch to coaching. Who is it? Who just got signed for like 18 million a year for coaching? Is it Doc? No. Oh my gosh, I can't remember now. But either way, what I'm trying to get at is you can make another profession out of the same genre that you love, but just doing a different position. But you have to learn when to adapt your goals and adapt just to adapt. So for example, if you want to buy a house and you've been trying to save for like 4 years and just things keep coming up so you don't have money and you want to buy in 4 years, you have to change your plan because you're not going to buy the house with zero money. So you have to switch it up and say, okay, you know what? Let's abandon the plan. Maybe maybe I'll go in with someone else, even though I want to buy it by myself. Maybe I'll wait another 4 years and just rent for a bit, move back with my parents. Maybe I'll try buying foreign where it's cheaper and more affordable. There can be many other avenues, but I do feel like you have to realize when you reach that part in your plan where I feel if you want it that bad, you would put in the work, put in the actual planning of the plan, and you would execute. Now, if you execute correctly, you'll succeed. Sometimes you'll execute correctly and you still won't succeed though. But you have to have that point where you're forecasting, you're doing a status update, and you're saying, okay, how realistic that I can carry whatever it is I'm trying to do. Is it or is it not? And if it's not, you have to be able to face the cold hard facts and say, okay, what can I do to either spin it, make it work, or find something else that I love or whatever it is. A good example is actually that a lot of people do. Not a lot, but it's becoming more of a trend. Work right now. So entrepreneurship is becoming booming because there's so many opportunities, and people will go to university, shell out the $60,000-$70,000 for school, or for their masters, for the PhD. They'll put in their apprenticeships. They'll go to the work. They're working for 15 years, whatever it is. And then they'll be like, you know what? This isn't what I want. They reach a point where they're not happy or they feel like they have a different calling. There's nothing wrong with calling it just cold turkey. Be like, all right, I'm out. Let me go do something else.
Step back.
Let me go back to school at 35. Who cares?
Sure.
As long as you have a plan, that's the thing that matters. But plans can change, plans can fail. So, you got to know when to just give. Because you know what? If you don't quit, you can do more harm. You can set yourself back further. You can dedicate your entire life to something you absolutely don't want to do. This is going to sound bad, but divorces, right? Some people say, you know what? There's some cultures who say, no matter what, we're sticking it out, period. I want to say Italians are like that, but I'm not too sure. But they'll stick it out.
Generalization.
It seemed bad to divorce, and it looks bad on the family.
Oh, that's enough cultures, brother.
Okay, yeah. So I said one, but there are.
No, I'm sure.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you have one life to live. So what? You're gonna stick it out because what? I don't get it. Like, would you rather be happy or would you rather be miserable? That's a touchy. I know that it's a touchy subject, but that's still
takes a lot
form
to
of a plan.
Make that jump, man. Takes a lot to take.
It takes a lot to abandon tens of thousands of dollars you invest into the business and be like, you know what? I got to do something else, right? So I'm just giving a different example, but it's still something.
There's a person I admired. It was like a
mentor
of mine. It was a mentor of mine. Oh, I guess a mentor of mine, but he was like one of the guys, a manager who was like pushing me, or like was a big fan of mine. Like he was always in my corner, I guess I would say. His name was Martin, and he was going to. He himself was on the fast track to, I guess, attaining his end goal. What he did which was going to be like a main manager, a store manager, a district manager status, right, or a position. And he, I think about 3/4 of the way through, he told me this, that he himself took a step back, took a lesser position to better learn the role, so that when he got to where he was still projected to be, he'd be better than what the people trying to push him there
Hmm.
were gonna think as good as he was gonna be. Does it make sense?
That's a humbling move.
Yeah, and like
It's very
I
tough to
always
do.
remember that, and I feel like I did that. I did that myself when my son was being born. I never saw myself in an office. I never saw myself sitting down. I never saw myself like again sitting there just being in a cubicle kind of thing. That wasn't. That's not me. That's not me at all. And not only did I guess humble myself in that space, um, but what I saw was in that new environment, I totally took a step back down, like where I was guy who would talk all the time, be there saying I'd be the one who's like more demonstrative, kind of like
Hmm.
take charge kind of person. I now went in this environment was kind of like, oh hey guys, what's up? Like
Mm-hmm.
like and very quiet and sitting in my corner, not trying to ruffle any feathers, not having an opinion but keeping it to myself, and it stifled so much of me personally. But I knew I was doing it for the betterment of my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew this was the better path to go.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was not a better path to go, but it was an easier path to go. It gave me more flexibility to be with my kid. It gave me more flexibility to be with my wife. We didn't have two kids at that time. And it just gave me all these things. So to me, I took a step back, even though money was better. In my mind, I took a step back, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to know when I had to walk away from what I really love doing, but it wasn't making the
So
ends
that was
anymore.
family motivated.
Yeah, big time. It was my son
Nice.
being born, and it was the right time, right opportunity. It was right in front of me, and if he wasn't there, I would have said no. And he was there, and I still said no the first time. They called me back, and I said yes. but but I regretted when I said it. You know what I mean? It's like I said no, and I regretted it, and it was like by some odd chance they hit me back, was like, hey, we really want you to join us. It'd
Oh,
be really
nice.
cool, blah blah. And you know, I was at that place for 5 or 6 years, and it might have not ended well, but I went there for the right reasons.
I hear
You
it.
know what I mean? And I don't regret it, but I don't think I'd put myself in a position like that again. So
That's
meaning,
similar to
yeah,
me and my dance career, actually.
okay,
So, like I said, I've been dancing since university, kind of thrown into it, and I just embraced it. It's been amazing. I teach hip hop, and I was teaching in Ajax, Pickering, Oshawa, all over the place. And essentially, actually, just I kept taking gigs. I was teaching at a studio for a long time, protege dance studio in Ajax.
how old are you like this time?
When I was teaching there,
Yeah, like or like
I was 28,
okay,
20,
okay,
28, 29,
so
I think.
late 20s.
Yeah, yeah. And great studio. Christine uh, Tavares or NJO, she's fantastic.
Yo, shout out to Christine.
But
I don't know Christine, but it sounds like a great person.
very professional. But honestly, what happened was I was having fun. It was so great, but at the same time, I was getting deep in my career, and like I said, my career has a lot of responsibility, and it was getting the love I had for dance was becoming a chore. Where it wasn't as fun anymore because the long travel from Mississauga to Ajax, and then I was frustrated when I went to teach because I was already so tired from work and so flustered and everything.
Oh, it's too much.
And
Too
it
much on
was
your
it was a
plate.
lot, and I realized that I still loved the act of dancing,
Yeah.
but I realized that the role I was playing was was deteriorating
The joy
the
wasn't
joy
there.
of it,
Yeah.
right? And as it was great side money, it was great people, amazing kids, and I had to call it quit. Actually, I tried quitting once, and then she told me, she's like, oh, no, please come back one more year. Let's offer more money or
Yeah.
different whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, I'll come back. And of course, I'm happy for it because I got another year with the kids
Yeah.
who are still friends for me to this day. But I kind of regret it at the same time because it just got me more in a slump. I was like, oh, this is like,
A
it's
drag.
tough, right?
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, Christine, I can't come back. It's too much. It's not the same. And she totally understood, which is very, very nice of her. And then again, I was just doing like just one gig. Like I'll do a competitive routine just for a high school.
So are you still are you in your 30s at this point?
Oh yeah, this was
Yeah,
like
no.
last year,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I was still teaching. Just I scaled it back from instead of doing weekly routines at a studio, I just did one competitive routine or two, and that was it.
So you're looking at like at a 2-3 year span of where you're like,
It was
that
probably
was
like a 6 year span. Or
where you're
sorry,
like,
four
where you're
or
like,
5 year
it's a
span.
drag.
Not a drag, but
Oh.
where it started going down. Right?
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I had to eventually stop. Just last year, I stopped doing the competitive routine as well because, well, my knee was pretty busted up and it was killing me. But same thing, like driving from downtown Toronto to Oshawa, just the drive alone sucks the soul out
For
of you.
those of you who don't live in Toronto,
That's almost a 2 hour drive
yeah,
in traffic.
Crazy.
Like
I don't make.
It's
I
bad.
don't. I would never make that drive. Frank always makes fun that I don't go out.
Yeah, I
to those
hustle.
places, but yeah.
But either way, it got to a point where I realized that the original benefit of dance I had was no longer there not because of the kids, not because of the
It's
routine.
like you lost not the love. You didn't lose the love.
No,
for
no,
it. You
I
just
have the
lost
love.
just the joy of.
The circumstances weren't right? So I couldn't
Gotcha.
make it. But if I happen to move back in the area or I find something
You'd
that's
be right back in
closer,
there.
then it might be back into it because now you're taking away a negative factor. But I knew that if I kept doing it, it just wasn't going to be
You knew
beneficial.
you couldn't feed that want that way anymore. Right?
Honestly, two things. A, I knew that it was deteriorating the love for dance for me. But B, I knew that I couldn't give 100%.
Gotcha.
One thing that I
That's
was
huge.
very, very, and I'm not just spitting crap to sound cool or whatever, but literally one thing that I took pride in is the parents, the teachers, the kids, they always loved my style of choreography, my dance, my music mixing, everything. And when I found that I was rushing all the time or just tired, I couldn't give
them that.
everything. And I saw it in my work.
Yeah.
I saw it. And I had to remake a routine one time because I was just like, it's not good. And when I did that was actually last year. That's when I was just like, I got to take a break. But just know when to quit. And one thing that we didn't touch on, it quitting doesn't automatically mean it's absolute or permanent.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Maybe you're just taking a break.
Right.
It's like doing a puzzle. If you're watching a puzzle for too long, take a break, come back. Automatically, you might find pieces and be like, oh, this goes here, this goes there. This is because you're staring at it for too long, right? So it's not bad to put something on the back burner, right?
And it's not bad to also, like, I was making jokes about, half making joke, Al Bundy and Poke High, but it's not bad to still have.
This is gonna
those
sound
memories.
bad. What's Poke High?
Poke High is Al Bundy. Married with Children.
Yeah.
He always reminisces
Oh,
about him being a quarterback.
Yeah. Sorry,
throwing-
I forgot the name of school. Sorry. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, it's just like the uncle in
Okay.
in
There we go.
oh my gosh,
There we go.
that movie.
It's right there.
Notorious. Is it
With
Notorious?
Biggie Smalls.
No,
The Biggie Smalls story.
oh my gosh, the guy who has nunchuck skills.
All right. So what
No,
I was
come
trying
on. Come on.
Why is my example not good enough? I could throw another example in there.
Okay, I'm gonna remember by the end of this podcast. Keep
Just
going.
don't be a prisoner of those memories, guys. That's all. Don't be a prisoner. Don't be afraid to walk away or quit thinking about those things and just build new memories. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know so many people who, especially like when you get older, you listen to a lot of people's
Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, great.
You remember the uncle in that where
I don't get
he
the
always
reference.
did the film where he was throwing football because he's saying if they just started him in high school they would have won state champ.
I don't remember the reference, but I get.
Have you ever seen the movie?
I have seen the movie. Yeah.
Yo, why are you talking so aggressive to me right now, guy? I have seen the movie.
Tensions are high. Tensions are high.
Listen, Sam, just take it easy. It's okay. I'm just talking to you. See, you de-escalated.
There you go. You controlled. See, you controlled me. You controlled
I
me.
controlled you.
No, but and again, half joking, but don't be afraid to walk away from those memories. Don't be afraid to build new memories, but also maybe use those memories as building blocks and not so much like a highlight reel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? Like a highlight reel of your life. Your life is so long, man. Especially if you get a chance to be around for a while. Like you have so much opportunity to do so many new things, try new things. Um, there's so much time to really invest in yourself now. I think more than ever. And I know we started with this. Well, the first part of this thing was don't watch another person's movements, but there's so many like entrepreneurial things going on now. So much like this good energy about like starting things for your own self, and like
Mm-hmm.
making yourself a brand or like creating something. There's just so many opportunities out there now that like didn't I feel like it didn't exist. That
Don't feel
energy,
like you're stuck.
yeah,
Just try something different.
that entrepreneurial spirit that they speak of right now is like so high. Like that
Mm-hmm.
that energy level is so high right now. Everywhere you look, like everyone's kind of, even if you're at a job at something where you kind of not, maybe you don't really love it, but you're just kind of doing it like I did, or like I felt I was doing, like for the betterment of your family. You can maybe still try to find something that you can kind of delve and make your
Absolutely.
passion still live. You know what I mean?
So here's a question.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap it up with this one.
Sure.
We touched on it slightly before, but I'm going to pick it up again. So, quitting on plans or just quitting in general. Now, how do you know when to, you said it more eloquently, walk away from someone? So, if you have
Someone.
yes, so a plan can be if you have someone who's in, has issues or tough to deal with, always getting in trouble, or whatever it is, and your plan, your goal is to help them, relieve them, get them out of whatever rut they are. But let's say it just doesn't work. You're trying, you're putting so much resources in, not just money, not just time, but your own personal, mental.
So are you talking
health.
about like a relationship, like a love relationship? You mean, or you mean like
No,
a
it
friendship,
doesn't have
or
to be.
what?
It can be a friendship. It can be a friend that you've had who just who doesn't want to do anything for themselves. Like they're not trying to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be a relationship where you keep trying to make it work, but maybe it's not. It can be a family member who just doesn't. I don't know, respect you or whatever it is, or take care of your grandma, whatever. So, like the family member, sorry. So, do you apply the same? It's okay to quit, quote unquote, or walk away to people.
Yes, and I've had to do that myself, and I had to do it. I had it in a weird way. I thought of it, and I guess in the one instance that I'm thinking of is like I had a long relationship with someone, and uh, it what's the word? Not broke up, but like
Diminished.
diminished. There you go, and and then they wanted to come back into the relationship, and as tempting as it was, I was like, no, like
Hmm.
nah, like not doing it, and it was tough. It was tough to walk away from that. It was tough to
Hmm.
say to myself to walk away. It was tough to not pick up the phone and call, and I've had to do that with guy friends, girlfriends.
Hmm.
Also, same thing where it's like that person runs through your mind. You're like, oh, let me hit them up. Let me give them a message.
Well, I think relations like love relationships, girlfriends. I think that's kind of a given because if you break up with someone, you're quitting, right? Technically.
Yeah, but like I guess in the scenario that I'm talking about is like imagine like years from now you're single,
Hmm.
right? And I don't know, should I even say sassy? Or like
Don't.
no,
Don't,
like
don't.
let's say
Or you done said it, so thank you.
like in a hypothetical, imagine you're way younger, you're still like out there, and this person who you were I guess vibing with or with for a certain period of time, guy or girl, you separate and they kind of want to come back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, dude. It's tough to be like, nah, I'm not really partying with you no more. Nah, I'm not really hanging out with you. Nah, I'm not really.
You know what?
Like,
Out of, if I'm talking friendships,
yeah, it's tough.
there's only been
for me, it's tough.
2 instances. I have a lot of friends. There's only been 2 instances where I've actually given up and walked away from a friendship. 2. And I won't go into details because, it's fine, it's business, but it reached a point where I realized that I was being used and I wasn't being respected. And
used like as a shoulder to cry on, or used like money used or something like that.
Shoulder to cry on.
Shoulder to cry on.
And that they were so willing to abandon me for their own vendettas.
Okay. Vendettas.
Yeah, vendetta.
You gotta say this thing a little specifically. That's strong words you're saying.
They abandoned me for their own.
Do it for the listeners, right?
Whatever. And literally, like, this was a best friend of mine, best friend for years, decades. Sorry, I should say. And it cut right off. And to this day, we don't hang out, we don't talk, nothing. And again, sparing details.
And it's tough as it is.
It's very tough because his parents considered me as. I regret the situation.
See, for me, like in the guys or girl situations, I would say as tough as it was, I don't regret it at all. I don't second guess it.
Well, no.
All.
So again, I don't regret the act.
Okay.
The act of me standing up for myself and be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't regret that.
Okay.
I regret the situation. I regret that it came to that because it didn't have to. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? And I am who I am today partially because of that, right?
Okay.
Good or bad. So
how long ago was this? Like
10 started pretty much like 10 years ago, and it was finalized like maybe 4 years ago.
Wow, finalized vendetta. This is a story.
Well, you know why? Because I always kept an open heart. I always kept my doors open.
Yeah, you don't want to slam them too.
Even after shit went down, whatever showed
happened,
up in my room
between you two, kind of thing.
Exactly, and I
left it there.
Okay, all right, just cut it. This guy asked for details. I'm giving details. He's like, no, cut it.
No. I mean, you left it.
Either way, it got to a point where I'm just like, done, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that
you thought I ended the episode.
Like, I thought you were just like, all right, guys, see you next week.
No.
So actually, well, we could say in closing, like, when it comes to people, I have a little bit more tolerance because I think relationships are extremely
important.
They're the foundation
of everything.
They are.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, sure.
Like a business plan, you can throw out the window and get a next one, but you can't just get a next person who can replace the memories and time and sentiment.
I feel the same way.
But at the same time, that does not mean that they are omitted from the possibility of being dashed away. That's how you end it.
Yo, that is how you end it.
Yo, this is a coming of age.
Any man could get dashed.
The podcast.
Nobody's safe.
Yo, no one's safe, boy.
I told you when it comes out, it's serious. When it comes out, it's serious.
Guys, thanks for listening, man. I don't even know what week this is. It doesn't even matter, but thank you for listening. Again, you can hit us up with any comments, whether you like the show, didn't like the show, agreed, disagreed. Whatever comment you want, cuss us out. It's all good. Email us at acomingofage.thepodcast@gmail.com. Also, I don't know what platform you're listening to us on, but you can listen to us on
Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Podbean. Shout out to Podbean. Everywhere. The best way to support us, man, is like the channel. Leave us a comment. Leave us a 5-star rating if you really like this. Suggest us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You know how that goes. Yeah, man. Can't appreciate it enough. Me and Frank are having a hell of a time. Too much fun sometimes. But yeah, let's lock it off there. Any man can get it. Any man can get dashed. Nobody's safe.
you're calling
Straight
like
goods.
bear threats. Yo, any man can get it.
Straight goods. And you're not Al Bundy. It's not Poke High,
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Get it out your system.
But at the same time, don't compare your plan to others, guys.
That's right. And on that note,
See you guys next week. Chill out. Peace and love.
Chucky.